This is Aaron Squire coming to you guys again. We've got GenCon 2016 coming up this weekend. I'm not sure if I don't think that I'm going to be able to get an interview like I have the last couple of years at GenCon, but tonight we've got a good show for you, and of course I'm going to be out there. Armies is going to be out there, so I guess if you want to high five us or whatever, I don't know if you actually would want us to sign something. We'll be out there. But tonight on the show, we're going to talk about gems, because there's going to be a gem switch coming up in the future. We foresee that because, Hex Entertainment told us, not because we're clairvoyant. And we'll also be talking about Havoc's deck, the one that beat me in round 7 of the Pro Player tournament. And then we're going to build something that's going to be very heavy in socketed gems. We might even throw in some Titanias. Maybe we'll go PvE. I'm not sure. Depends on what you guys think. And I'm going to throw up some gems because we actually don't know exactly what the gems are going to be. So I made some up, and we'll see what happens with those. So Armies of Mordor, how you been doing? Welcome back to the show. What have you been up to this last week?
I got a new chair. Some people might see that.
Is that a racer chair thing?
It's an off-brand one, but it's the same style. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you buy it or did you win it or something or
I bought it.
Oh, you bought it. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
my
were.
other chair was breaking on me.
Yeah, at the convention that I ran at DreamHack, they actually had a bunch of those chairs, and they were selling them after the convention was over because they didn't want to take them back with them because they basically come in there with boxes of them and build them right
Yep,
there.
I
Yeah.
built it in my room.
So if anybody ever wants to get a chair and you happen to be at those conventions or you happen to be in the area of those conventions and it's done and the convention's over, go in there and they sell them. And they sell them for like half price. So that's fairly good. Let's see. This week I've been mostly doing homework. I've been working on my model. For my game, I've been trying to get the demo ready. I'm a little bit afraid it may or may not get ready before the convention, so that would be kind of sad if that doesn't happen. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Plus, I need to get a video out there of me playing the game. So there's a lot to do for me as far as the game. I did finish my homework up, so I've got everything out of the way. Work is behind me. I'm super stoked. I've got my energy for this convention to go and run all these events for Super Dungeon Explorer and Relic Nights, and then we're doing Drunk Quest on, was it Thursday and Friday? I'll be doing that, and I'll be at the Hex LAN and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So pretty excited about next week. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to this week. So my model only has her boots textured, which means I only put color on her boots. So I think I might just call her Bootsy or something. Yeah, something like that. So, all right. So let's go ahead and do the YouTube giveaway. So we didn't have as many as last week on the YouTube giveaway. We'll go ahead and flip over to the show. I know I get really bright when this happens because the screen is all white. And it looks like 3 people, so I'm actually going to roll the dice twice, and first person is going to get a draft. So this is the number 2 person, so Sebastian will get the draft. So he wins a draft. You win a draft. And then the other person is going to get, this will be a 50-50. Looks like it landed on the GenCon, so that would be Zimic is going to win. You win a playset of, playset is 2 words, set of acorns, spectral acorns. I think that's a fairly good prize. I don't know how excited people are going to be about that. I was thinking about doing a spectral acorn thing while I'm at the convention where I'll give away spectral acorns like every day for people that retweet me or something. I don't know. Do something. Or if you come up and you meet me at the convention, then you tweet to me right after or get me information about yourself, then I'll get you a spectral acorn. And people that are not able to show up to the convention, maybe I'll put something out each day. I don't know. I'm not sure people will be that interested in doing that, but free stuff is free stuff. So, yep. Armies. So we're going to be talking about the deck that basically face rolled me in round 7 of the tournament. This was what's his name? Hex Havoc was running this deck. Super exciting because I went into that round and I was like, you know what, we haven't seen in a while, Reese the Crust Crawler, and he buried Reese the Crust Crawler turn 2 on me. I believe in both games 1 and 2. I can't remember if I actually beat him in any of those games. I think he 2-0'd me on that one. So fairly exciting piece of this deck. He's also running Grulks in here and Mastery at time, which, you know, these are all throwbacks to
To
when
his Mono Sapphire
to
deck
Mono
that took the
Sapphire.
meta by storm.
Yeah,
Except
yeah,
he's splashing wild for some ramp and some Runir Hierophants
yeah.
and some Sight of the Sun
Yeah,
and some sideboard cards,
he's also got
reserves.
Eldritch Dreamer in here. It's showing the champion Eldritch Dreamer. What it meant to show was the card Eldritch Dreamer, which is a 3/3 for 4, and I believe it's 2 Sapphire Threshold, and he probably has it gemmed. Yeah,
Card draw.
card draw, which is Major Sapphire of the Mind. So, what else do you think about this
Always,
deck?
always the synergy with taking extra turns and cards that are unblockable.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
It's a good deck. It's a little susceptible to aggro in the first game because it's not playing as much main deck life gain as some of the other decks do, but he has extra life gain in the reserve, so
right. Yeah, I mean he's got the 2 Carnosaurus in the main, and I think that's about right for what the meta's doing right now, and then 2 in the reserves. If you're gonna run Carnosaurus at all, I don't know that I would run 4 main deck if you're in Wild. I didn't run any this past weekend, but I was also running a life gain deck which ran crazy life gain stuff uh, beyond that, so it didn't really matter that much to me. But yeah, this deck is with my deck being less interactive. I had a really hard time with this deck.
yeah, this deck is definitely one of those pesky kind of decks. It plays a lot like Boris because it can give flight to a Runir Hierophant,
Yep.
and but this deck gives it to it permanently. So
Yeah.
if you don't have a good way to block the Hierophant in the air or to just kill it before it gets going, you can just take away the game, making a bunch of rhinos and then taking extra turns and slamming in with 3/3 crush troops for free, basically.
Yeah. And I think the other super exciting thing which can win the game outright is the Grulk that is in the main deck, which is been notoriously hard to cast at 3 Sapphire Threshold. This is a throwback to set 1, so a lot of newer players may not have remembered that this card exists, but it's a 2/2. It really doesn't matter that it actually is a body. What you really want is the fact that it exhausts your opponent's entire field for 2 turns. Basically, it exhausts them and then keeps them exhausted for the entire next turn. So, with the rise of this deck, do you think that we may see some counters like Constantina coming down? Because Constantina is a nice turn 2. It does help out with Grulk. It does fend off a grounded, what do you call it, Hierophant for like a turn-ish, maybe. It does do some things. I don't know if it does enough work, but I don't know if there's any
I
other really great answer in Wild.
I think Constantina it would be a reasonable reserves card if you're already playing like the more elf based Ruby Wild kind of deck, where you're already playing like the Elf Shard and you need a potentially a large number of elves to support it. Constantina would be a fine one or two of probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that for me, playing the deck I had, I think this is highly favored in his direction for sure. Just because, like, the most interactive card I have is Crocosaur, and a lot of times, like, it's just either too late by the time I get to play it. He's already taken over board state, and a lot of his stuff is, like, spell shielded anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, yep, really good deck. Moving on, the Hex update. So we've got some more of the Armies of Myth. So GenCon, of course, they're going to be there. Their booth is 501, and of course they're going to have a location in the LAN area. They have Ben Stoll is going to be doing a game-making cage to share goals for gem rotation. Okay, so he's going to be talking about gems, and that's going to be an additional article. We've got VIP weekend, which has already started, so we've got a couple of times for that, so I'm going to need to play that tomorrow as well. And then there's the Lixil tournaments, which are still going on. It looks like they're moving from Mondays to Tuesdays because I guess that's better for people to play
Uh,
on.
it, it's just the way the format has the tournament series is set up. Is this month it was on Monday, next month it's on Tuesday, the
Oh,
following month it's on Wednesday. So yeah,
Wednesday. Okay.
yeah,
So it helps spread it out for other
yep.
people that can want to be able
Hmm.
to make it. Okay, that makes sense. Sure, that's a lovely Lixel card. I wish I could. I might have to get one on the auction house or something because I don't have a lot of time to play these tournaments during the week.
I could send you some. I have spares.
Ooh, yeah, maybe just one or two. That's a hot Lixel right there. I definitely want to extend the art on that one. Anything you want to throw in there, or what you looking forward to? Are you going to get one of those posters? Do you think, or I think they're like 40 to 50
If
bucks.
they get a draft opening, I'd like to play in one of the fancy extra weird drafts that they're gonna have that are full of packs that have new cards, PVE cards, and if the
Well,
winner of those drafts gets the alternate art poster.
last
So
year the draft was simply set three
right, but this time
and
it said the draft was made with special packs
special packs. Oh
that will
wow,
include cards never before seen.
oh wow. So you're gonna have to do some reading. That'll be exciting. Yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
gonna try to bring my camera and do what I did last year and record if I can get a draft in. Now they didn't do what they'd done in previous years, which was put the drafts on the schedule. So I think what they're doing is they're going to
They
fire on demand
they
on
put them
tickets.
on the schedule and they sold out immediately.
Well, yeah, because we have
But
certain people that snipe all that stuff. But
yeah, but they usually, from what I gather, is that they have ones that run according to demand if they have open
right,
computers.
yeah. So if you can get the extra tickets, then you can do them as well. So
Yeah.
fairly
So that's
easy.
my goal is to get into maybe one or two of those and
Yeah,
try
just
to
do at
win a
least one
poster
for
that
me.
way.
Yeah, I think as long as I get to do one, I'll be happy. All right. So moving on, the gem rotation. So there's a bunch of different things, but it's as far as I understand it, the long and short of it is we've got set 6. Once that comes out, then we're gonna lose Shards of Fate and Shattered Destiny, and in set 5 our gems are gonna rotate.
Yep.
And then
And
once it is that set 7 comes out, the gems will rotate again.
yeah, so it's every odd set, starting with set five, some gems will rotate. Set five, all of them are rotating, is what it
Right.
said. But then in set seven, they might not rotate all of them. They might only rotate like the minors or the majors
They'll
or
probably rotate the ones that are
that are OP.
considered to be
Yeah.
dominantly played. Yeah, that's what I think that will likely happen. Ones that just cause either bad play experiences or other stuff.
Yeah. And then
It's
they
going to be
said
very interesting to see what happens to Hierophant once it is that we lose Spell Shield. That's
it'll
for
still
sure.
be a good card.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a body that keeps getting bigger the longer the game goes. So
I think
people still have
you'll
to.
just need to defend it differently. That's all.
Yeah, he'll play things like Arcane Zephyr or Verdict or whatever you have to protect it.
Yeah. And you'll play it a lot slower too, then, because like you'll play it on.
You can
You
still
might have
play
other
it on
things you
turn
do.
two,
I
and
mean,
then
you
if they
could,
don't answer it, you can protect it.
but dude, against certain matchups, like if I have other things to play earlier, like I might play that stuff and then try to absorb some removal, and then if I can play it on 5, then I have counter ready.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
it just depends
I
what
think
kind of deck you're playing against, because some
sure.
removal is worse than others against it, even as just playing it on turn two. If they're not playing
Yeah.
burn and they're on the draw, they're not going to be able to kill it short of like Rotcast, which is double blood.
Yeah. Yeah, Rotcast will probably start seeing a lot more play as well. It also talks about campaign and set rotation. I'll let you go ahead and take this one because you read this a little bit more than I did.
Yeah, so basically the gist of it is the campaign is going to let you use all of the cards, but the gems that you get to use for the campaign will be based on the standards gems.
Right.
So nothing too special. They also said that every even set after set 6 will rotate the 2 oldest sets. So we'll have basically
Four set blocks.
every set that comes every other set that comes out is going to have some sort of rotation.
Yeah.
So it'll either rotate gems or it'll rotate sets, which will keep the meta shifting quite often, like every 4 months, which is great.
Yeah, that is great. I think that's a good thing compared to other games that I'm used to. They have a 6 set block. I mean, do you feel like there's enough cards with 4 sets, or you know, um,
Well, it'll either be 4 or 5 sets depending on what set is out. So it'll always have at least four, and then sometimes it'll be
sometimes
five.
5? Like, yeah,
So I
okay. So
think
on
I
the
think
odd set, it's 5. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's a reasonable amount considering all of
yeah,
the potential that the game has with champions and the gems to
right. Plus,
produce
it has a
different
lower price
archetypes.
point than most of your physical games, being
Yep.
$2 packs, and then you can get them on the auction house for $1.60. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. Sure. So then we're basically on to the deck doctor. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to bring up this week that was
Well, they did.
interesting.
They did specifically mention that when the sets 1 and 2 rotate out, that their packs will no longer be sold in the store. So,
Oh,
if you're just getting into the game and you want to be able to get set 1 and 2 cards, you might want to buy some
some
packs
packs now.
before set 6 comes out. That's still a
Sure.
little while in the horizon, but just something to keep in mind.
Right. I mean, for people that want to play like
The
eternal
eternal
formats,
formats. Yeah.
which I guess this will be the introduction. Like as soon as we get our first rotation, then we'll have our first eternal format, right?
Yeah, they're calling it immortal constructed.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to this gem deck. So here's what I came up with for gems that we can use. These are going to be my own personal concoction of new gems. So we're going to consider trying to build around these. So the first one is in Wild, you just get Crush. Like that's like a lot of things in Wild already have Crush, but I figured that's one that we haven't seen yet. We can throw that in there. The Ruby one, I came up with something a little bit spicier, which is when you play this troop or when you play this card, you deal 1 damage to all troops, including the troop that you played. The diamond one, when you play it, it fixes you, so it gives you any shard that you want. The blood one, you play the card, and then if for whatever shard it is, so if it's a blood troop or something, your opponent has to sacrifice that shard type of troop. So if you could put it in some sort of troop that had 2 different shards, then your opponent would have to sacrifice both of those types of troops. So that one I think is powerful, but at the same time fair. But it's also maybe a little bit too janky to be amazing. Then the final one in Sapphire is you play it and you give permanent minus power to a troop, to a target troop, equal to its defense. So I feel like that's a fairly interesting one that we haven't even really seen yet. So out of all of those things that I just mentioned, armies, and I feel like most of them are fair. Which one do you want to build around? Do you think we should build around tonight?
Uh, I'm kind of a fan of the Ruby one
The Ruby one, deal one
because
damage to everything.
because it makes me want to play Cockatrice because it has lethal.
Oh yeah, that could be cute. Okay, sure, let's do that. Yeah, and that could be cute. Let's do that. So we're basically Blood Ruby, and we'll look at gemmed cards and that sort of thing. And I guess we'll build PvP or PvP PvE. Do you think?
uh, I don't know. That's
All
tough
right,
to
we'll go
say.
we'll go PvP because we've been doing that for a while. So first things first, let's go ahead and get our shards set. So we'll go shardless, Ruby, and Blood. And so this is a completely just so everyone's aware before we go into this is really
Speculative.
this is a giant speculation deck, so this isn't one we expect you to attempt at all, but sometimes it's nice to theory craft around some things and really think about
If
what's
Aaron
out there.
Squire could make a gem,
If I could make a gem, here's some gems that I just off the cuff just throw out there that we could attempt to try out. So
so
uh,
first thing that screams to mind for me is that this is probably going to be a gallows gas type of control deck where we just play all of the sweepers, and then Cockatrice is just another sweeper
another
that
sweeper
sweeps
that's
the
also a body that has lethal, and we can
Well,
throw.
technically speaking, I don't know if the wording. I have to check the wording on lethal to see if it would kill all of your own troops or if lethal only
Yeah, it
kills
would kill your own.
troops.
Yeah, it would kill your own cockatrice too.
Yeah,
So
that's
you'd
what I
have to.
would expect.
Yeah, which is fair because it's
Yeah.
killing everything. It looks like TCG Browser might be acting up on us again this week, which is unfortunate. Come on, TCG Browser, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. Maybe a lot of people are not watching the show. They're using TCG Browser. Okay, so we have lethal on it, and if we shard in the ruby, deal 1 damage to all, and it has lethal, it'll kill itself. So do we even really need to shard the other miner on there? What would we shard the other? Oh, we could probably. I mean, I don't know what we would. I guess we
There,
could put
there,
in something that we already know we have.
there isn't anything that is an interplay effect that isn't a major, so there's probably no minor that would
I guess we
actually be
just put the
good.
sacrifice on it, really, because then our opponent also sacrifices a blood card.
Yeah, but I would imagine that both of those would be major gems.
That's true. I mean, it is double minor
Yeah.
on here, so maybe this wouldn't
So,
work.
I
Let's
mean,
say that
yeah, I
all the
don't
gems
know.
I came out with are major. Is that what we want to say?
If we do major, then we would definitely have to do something else. Like
Yeah.
maybe Inquisitor with that gem and you play Yodel as your
Oh, that would be
champion.
so stupid if you had Inquisitor. Uh, well, I guess it wouldn't be too crazy. Yeah, Yodel
It
plus
would just be
Inquisitor.
like a looping heat wave that costs two more than heat wave.
Sure. Well, I mean, the first time, and then
Well, that's what I mean, because it's like the first one you play is if you use your champion power, it's a heat wave for four, and then it's a heat wave for six, and a heat wave for eight. So
sure.
basically, give you all the removal in the world against an aggro deck.
Yeah, Yodel's been very popular. It's basically that is probably the heaviest budget deck that there is out there right now, isn't it? Does it?
That and McBombus are both pretty cheap.
Well, Bombus though, you need to have Hierophant, so that kind of.
No, that's not McBombus. McBombus is the 1/1 speed
Oh,
fly.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, the little guys. All right.
it's the Skarn Seeing Red Gobbler deck. If you want the budget version, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got our Inquisitor, and we've already said it's major, and we're gonna shard in. We're gonna put that deal 1 damage to all. So I don't know that I even have a lot of other things I could put gems in to get it to do that other thing. So yeah, see, I know you're just joining us. I came up with a bunch of ideas for gems because we're getting new gems. These are my own personal concoctions. We're building a deck around one of those gems, which is if it was in Ruby, it would be major, and it says deal 1 to all troops, including the troop that it has when it comes into play. So we're putting that on our Inquisitor
maybe
and then
maybe it would be
comboing with
better if it
Yodel.
was an on cast trigger.
Well, then it wouldn't kill itself and have that, effect of.
Yeah, but then it would actually be decent with cockatrice.
Yeah, if it wasn't major too.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important to have it like it is though, because this way, like, yeah, on the Inquisitor, you're making a decision on that. Like the whole point was you needed to play it in something that has a at least 2 toughness or better.
Yeah. Or
So,
it's just removal.
or it's just yeah. I mean, is there something else we could have chosen that would have been also reasonable?
Um,
I mean, there's the guy
I mean,
where
you could put it in Runir Hierophant if you think that there's going to be a gem that makes it bigger than a 2/2. Like if there's something that gives it plus defense, like the current +1/+1 gem. If there's going to be anything that buffs its defense at all, then you could put it in that. But
yeah. Um, I guess we just kind of play all the ruby sweeps and the blood sweeps and stuff, pretty much. Could do
yeah,
Angel of Agony in here. That'd be kind of interesting. Have all that damage stick to things.
yeah, it could be interesting. That is a card that hasn't really seen any play.
Yeah, I kind of want to build around Angel of Agony sometime. Maybe next time.
It's just it dies to almost all the like. If it was a 4/4 instead of a 4/3, I think it
Yeah.
would have saw a lot more play.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Yeah, I guess we're just kind of going heavy removal and whatever. We can play like tendrils in here. That seems like a good choice with Yodel. Could play cleave.
Cleave's probably reserves,
Yeah.
since we basically have Cleave built into our Inquisitors.
Yeah. I'm still looking for a better troop to gem this thing into, though.
Well,
Kind
the
of.
problem is, like, I guess you could use the Cyclops instead. The Obsidian Cyclops.
That might be cooler. Yeah, just because we can actually make sure that, like, what
That
we
it's big
play,
enough to
play it for
survive.
four, right?
Yeah.
5, 6.
I think you have to play it for 5 so that it's a 3. Because I
Yeah.
think it's 2x, right? So you have to play it for
Yeah,
5.
it's 2 and X, and then the X is the power
Five
Natalius.
if you wanted to survive, but you
Well,
could
if
play
you
it for
activate
0.
Yodel,
You
it
could
depends
play
if
it,
you need Yodel it or not.
yeah, but you could also play it for 0 as just a heat wave with
Yeah.
Yodel power,
Guess we play Heat Wave in here.
probably.
Yeah, that's cute. Sure, that's cute. Rage Fire, probably.
It's double ruby, might be
A little bit
a
too
little
clunky.
loose,
We'll
and there's
probably.
probably not that much card draw. Usually, you want to be able to draw a lot of cards if you're playing escalation cards.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right about that. I was thinking about Anarchist, but so with the Cyclops, yeah, we could do that. So the blood one I chose, Yassi, is it says your opponent has to sacrifice a creature with the same uh, shards as the creature that it's on, type of thing. So if it's a ruby troop, they have to sacrifice a ruby troop. But if it was like a ruby and a blood troop, they have to sacrifice a ruby and a blood troop. And obviously, if they don't have those things, they don't have to sacrifice anything. So I feel like it's a fair deck, a fair card for the deck. Or at least a fair gem that's somewhat balanced, maybe a little bit janky, but still interesting. Because I was like, I want to sacrifice a effect, but just straight up sacrifice is too powerful. Because if it just said sacrifice it, I mean, it would be like, okay, that's an auto include in like every deck. I remember that was like the big deal when the Ruby gem that did damage, did random damage to a troop. Remember that?
Yeah.
Man, those were the
It
days.
might be possible that you would make the sacrifice instead of based on the threshold of the troop, make it based on like the cost of the troop. Like they have to
Maybe,
sacrifice something with the same cost as it.
or maybe the exact same cost.
Hmm.
That's fairly narrow, but it's more
It's
playable.
narrow, but it's more playable because you can play it against any deck and not just the mirror or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah, maybe something like that. Like we could do that with. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, because if it was that, then we could put that in the Inquisitor, and then we could put the Obsidian Cyclops with the one where it deals 1 damage to all, and then I don't know, find something else for Cyclops. And
Well, I feel like Cyclops would be the better candidate for that gem because you get the change its cost because it's an X spell.
oh, that's true. Yeah,
But
that would be cool. Yeah, so we just use that. Yeah, instead of Inquisitor, and we just get rid of Inquisitor. We're hardly even playing Blood here. It's
well,
basically just
I
like,
mean, even the Yodel deck barely plays blood. It usually just splashes blood for the brutalizer
yeah,
and like the infusion device kind of thing. And Gallows Gas that we're probably playing in this deck.
yeah, that's the one that does 1, right?
Gallows double socket gets +1/+1 if it's in your hand when any troop dies.
I actually haven't had someone play this against me every time I played Yodel. I
Well,
haven't.
it's not in every Yodel deck.
Yeah,
It's only in the
it's like a
Yodel
one
decks that are
of.
trying to go a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the other one. What's the one where it pings for 1 every turn?
Arena regular.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one is super good in Yodel.
Oh well, there's this guy. Yeah, that guy. But I'm talking about the one where you activate it to ping for one.
Oh, Bomb Right? Or, the 1/1.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Ghost Blade Duelist or something? The 1/1.
Yeah, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Deal one every turn. Yeah, that. This is the guy that, like, when they first played it, I was like, oh, because Yodel, and then he does more damage, and oh, okay.
Yeah, it's basically 2/2 unblockable every other turn or something.
You think we're
And
playing
otherwise
Burn in
it's
here?
1/1 unblockable.
Are we playing Burn in here? Probably, right?
Probably have to. It's just
Yeah,
such an efficient removal spell.
yeah. Burn's kind of a big deal. That would be interesting. So on the, we didn't really even talk about the set rotation and what that would mean. We could probably go back and talk about that after. We're kind of
Well,
this deck kind of builds itself,
it's hard to say what it'll mean because we don't have set 5 yet, and the
right? But
rotation
some of the
isn't until
things,
set 6.
but we
But
definitely know which
obviously,
things we're losing. You
yeah, we're
know,
definitely losing some of the champions that are played. We won't see Winter Moon. Oh, you learned what's set 3? Never mind. We won't see like Lionel Flynn or Giles or Running Deer or Feather Drifting anymore.
yeah. I think the cards are some of the ones we won't like. That'll be a big deal. Like there will be no more Reese, right?
No more Kill, no more Extinction, no
Yeah.
more Repel, no
No
more.
more. Yeah. No more
Obviously,
angels.
obviously they'll print other removal spells, so it's hard to say. Like, it's not like Blood will necessarily just not have great removal just because Kill is
Whoa.
gone.
Yeah. I mean, I know there'll be another sweep. That's the big thing. There'll be no heat wave either. So there'll have to be at least one sweep that's really good that people play. Hopefully two. Yeah, and then
They don't even know what the
I don't
gems do yet. It's
I don't think that people are gonna sell their Hierophant. It's too much of a good card. Like it doesn't. It's still really gonna
it's
be
still
really
gonna be
good.
good in the Eternal format if nothing else.
I think it'll be good even after they get
I'm
rid of.
sure there will be a gem that will make Hierophant in a tier 1 deck after rotation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one, but I don't know what color
Yeah, with no
combination it'll be
rhinos
best
too.
in.
Rhinos will go away too. That's kind of a big deal. It'll be
Eh,
interesting to see how far they go. If they go like complete neuter on the Hierophant to just be like, yeah, none of these gems are really good for Hierophant anymore, and then people
yeah,
do sell them.
I doubt that. There
I
has to
doubt.
be at
I
least
doubt
something
it
that's
too,
good.
because that's part of the whole deal with Hex, right? The gems are like giving you that customization, so they need to have powerful gems, but at the same time they need to have like also kind of like okay gems, you know, that just eh, yeah,
Yeah, Hierophant is still an amazing card for right now, and I don't see it ever not be seeing play, at least in the Eternal format, until we get some really specific hate for it, like target opponent sacrifices their biggest guy or something like that. Like something that actually just deals with it always, you know?
yeah. Hmm. I don't know if there's anything else I really want to put in here. Maybe like Army of the Arcane Cinder could be cute, but chances are we'll be able to kill our guys. But we don't have a lot of guys to begin with, so that may not be that good. Let's see, what could we put in here? That would be good. I guess you could play a Darkspire cycle in here too,
Yeah,
because you kill your own Darkspires. It doesn't matter. You draw Darkspires or get good effects off of them.
mm-hmm. Priestess isn't terrible, especially if you're playing sweepers and you have Yodel, because you could potentially deal 4 and you sweep them. But yeah, let's see. We won't have to deal with Soul Marble anymore. That's a good one. We won't have to.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. Yeah, see, it looks like you're gonna get both prizes tonight. You're like the only one here. Sold out for 25 more minutes.
Won't
free,
have to.
free
Won't have
draft
to
and
deal
free
with
exit.
Master Moss, Eye of Creation, Root Father,
Yeah,
Kill a
yeah,
Key,
yeah,
Mastery of Time,
yeah,
Azure Fate Sorceress.
yeah. That's a big deal. All those things are big deals. I'm still a big fan of Ambusher. Is that set 3? Is this set 3 or set 4?
No,
Or
that's
set
set
2?
2.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Still a big fan of Ambusher. There'll be no more Gore Feast, although that had its day in the sun for, it was basically set 2 was its day in the sun.
Yeah, it hasn't really come
Come
back since
back.
then.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else I really want to throw in here. Like we talked about Angel of Agony, but it just feels suboptimal.
It
I
just
think
dies
maybe
to
next time.
almost so much removal right now.
I think next week I'll try to build around Angel of Agony. Opposing troops are not healed at the end, so we got to figure out a way to make it so we can ping troops every turn or something, and then play this Angel of Agony, and then protect it somehow.
Yeah,
Although you
well, you
can't,
got
the only way you can
basically,
protect it with blood is like disruption. So it's like
yeah, you get to that
Inquisition.
discard basically.
That's all you have is
No,
Inquisition and any other discard. That's solid discard, like Arachnophobia or something. Reap in the reserves, maybe 2 or 3 reap. Closed coffins. I don't know if we really even need closed coffins in a deck like this, though. Still a big fan of Zombie Plague. That, it never really like made the mainstream. It was like, oh, it was a one of in these random like control decks.
if they hadn't nerfed it from its first printing, it would have soft lay.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. Monsoon is sticking around or going away. Is he?
He's set two.
He's set 2, so he'll be going away.
Yep, all the tunneling is gone.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if certain things will make a comeback or not. Like we had Inspire, we had tunneling. Some of those mechanics I'd like to see more of. I feel like they could have been powerful, but they chose to make them like not as powerful as they could have been. They
No more
really reined
Lixil and
in.
Midnight Shepherd.
Yeah, Vampire Princess sticks around though.
Yep,
The princess sticks around, and the king goes away. The
yep.
princess takes the throne. That's what happens.
Or you never know, there might be a new
Yeah.
vampire prince or something.
Yeah. Oh man. Prince Taliesin goes away. That's another one where I felt like I wish he was a little bit better. The one toughness was really.
If he had been single Ruby, he probably would have saw a lot more play.
I think the one toughness is what really hurt him.
The one toughness hurts, but the double Ruby hurt a lot more because a lot of the decks that I would ever want to play him in, you want to be playing like the big expensive stuff from the other colors because there isn't really that much good expensive stuff in Ruby to even get off the trigger.
You could try to play. You know what people haven't tried to play in Yodel yet is Sting's Shot Sniper.
I mean, it's
It's
not very good in the mirror. It's really not amazing unless you can empower it, and
Yeah,
it's
and
pretty
you aren't
expensive
ramping,
to
and
empower.
it's the double ruby. So
Whereas the 3/1 guy that creates a scorch is like even if they kill it right away, it
you still
still
have
gives you a
Scorch,
scorch.
which is two damage. Yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah, you kind of are playing a different deck if you're
Sting
playing.
Shot's pretty sweet in PvE though. Its equipment is so good.
Oh my goodness. Whew. There's an AA brutalizer. I like the regular brutalizer better though. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, this is kind of like not that exciting deck build to Squire right now because I'm just not coming up with a lot of things I want to play in this deck. It basically just became Yodel and then sweep some stuff out. That's basically what happened.
Yeah, well, it's hard to make a deck about new gems when you only made 5 new gems. When
Yeah, we kind of needed. I needed 5 more, and so I don't know if someone can come up with another gem
technic
for us.
technically we needed 20 gems,
Well,
but
that's true. We only came up with 5, so yeah,
so
we
the
we need to
double
come up with
socket
more.
cards are kind of hard to gem when you don't have full gem.
Maybe we should do that. We should run a contest while we're at Gen Con. Everyone needs to come up with one new gem, and the best new gem that, I don't know, gets votes or people really like on the
Wonder
posts on YouTube will get, I don't know,
I wonder if
a
we'll see the
draft
new
and
gems at Gen Con
maybe
during those drafts
we might.
if they'll
Because
have
you
the new
said so.
set
You
on
said that
them.
the drafts are going to be very interesting this year. Why don't you tell the people about that?
Well, they said that the drafts are going to be made with special packs that are going to contain PvE cards, cards that haven't been seen from PvP sets and PvE sets. I can probably find that article, but it's definitely back in June, I think, that they made that one. Let's see.
Let's see. So I do like, I think another card that may be an interesting one for Yodel is like Inferno as a one of. Could be interesting.
I mean, it's interesting, but Inferno doesn't like do anything extra in Yodel. It's just a
Yeah,
constant source of damage.
and that could be interesting in this deck too, maybe. But as long as you're ahead, as long as your opponent isn't healing. Speaking of which, you probably want to play a play set of Witch, whatever it's called, Witch,
Ember Spire
Ember Spire
Witch.
Witch that we just passed by at some point in time. We passed by it somewhere. But yeah, you probably want to. Yeah, here she is. Pretty sure it's a she. It's hard to tell with that face. Yep. Your opponent can't gain health seems kind of important versus the deck that I played a couple weeks ago, where I'm gaining like
The
ridiculous
Wild
amounts of
Diamond
health.
deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as they're not playing Carnosaurus, Limber Spire Witch is pretty good.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know that we really need Blood Infusion Device. Like most of the time when I see this card in the Yodel matchup, it feels like this card is best in the mirror. Otherwise, it's not especially great. Like, how do you feel about Blood Infusion Device in the Yodel decks?
It's reasonable because it generates a charge for the arena regular. It fixes your threshold so you can use your champion power, and it potentially does 4 damage and heals you 4, which can help you in the race.
Yeah.
It's reasonable. It's not my favorite card, but it's a necessary evil because of how many shards you're playing and the fact that you do need blood and double ruby.
You need double ruby? What do we need double ruby for?
It plays the empower cards. It either plays the one with
Oh, that's
Scourge
right. We play
or it
the
plays the burning
yeah,
tendrils.
tendrils. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, we got competition now. You know, it'd be kind of interesting. Another time we could do Ruby Blood again with Zigmund's game and Minion of Yakuzan. That could be interesting. Put those, and then of course you've got the other card as well, the other bunny. We passed by the one where when you put cards into your graveyard, into your crypt rather, that your it puts counters, and then once you have 3
Oh, I
counters
found
on
the
it.
quote. Each of their events that are at Gen Con will utilize a special pack that they've created just for Gen Con this year. It includes PvE cards, AI only cards, Army of Myth, and Primal of Dawn cards, as well as your first look at some future PvP cards.
There you go. Unmerciful Tormentor probably doesn't really work here because we're not trying to empty out our hands very quickly. Unmerciful Tormentor was one, like, when there's only set 1, it was fun to play, but at the same time, if you ever flooded with Unmerciful Tormentor in your hand, you're just like,
It's a
goodness,
1/1 for
just
one
let
card.
me just let
Yeah,
me play all my shards. Stop giving me shards. I'm trying to dump out all my cards, and
yeah.
you're sitting there with 3 shards in your hand, and you just keep
Those
top decking shards, and you're like,
those kind of cards typically you need to have like ways to take advantage of discarding cards.
yeah,
Like there needs to be an effect like discard a card and you can play this card for free or something. You know, you need those kinds of effects to make that kind of deck especially good.
yeah.
Where you trade card advantage for tempo.
Hmm. I'm not sure this is really any good right now what we built with this gem. So if you're just joining us, basically we're coming up with I came up with a bunch of new gems. These are my own personal conjecture on gems, not based on anything other than just randomly coming up with things because they're changing gems out in the next expansion. So again, what I came up with was wild gives you Crush, and these are all going to be major gems, by the way. Ruby is deal 1 damage to all troops, even the troop that it has it socketed in. Diamond will fix your threshold for any threshold you want, so you play the troop, you get whatever threshold you want. Blood, you play it, and originally we said you would have to sacrifice a troop that has the same threshold as a troop you as the troop that has the gem on it. But Army said that it might be better and fairer and more playable if we made it so it had to equal. Your opponent has to sacrifice a troop equal to the cost of the troop that you're playing, and that's very interesting when you put it in the Obsidian Cyclops, because we can basically make it. We could even make it 2 if we wanted to. We can make it 2 or anything above 2, and it would work. And then the last one is for Sapphire would be minus power to target troop equal to the defense of this troop. And so what we decided to do was we decided to go Blood and Ruby, and we decided to play both of those in the Cyclops. So again, this is a very much a conjecture kind of a, just theory crafting around gems that don't actually exist type of a deck this week. So kind of trying to have a little bit of fun with it. So basically we ended up just slotting it into Yodel and then going heavy on the sweeps, and to hopefully get us into the end game and push through with a really big Cyclops or something like that, and keep the board open so we can swing with our Brutalizer and not have to worry about it like after we've swept out or something. So that was basically it. I'm not a big fan of the Gallowgast in here, but I guess with all the sweeps we should be fine with just one of those. Let's see, what do we pull out of here? Probably the Rage Fires, right?
Yeah, the
Rage
Double
Fires.
Ruby early is probably a little bit lackluster. I mean, we probably don't need Blood Infusion Device in this particular build of Yodel, since we're not trying to go all in on burn. We're
Yeah.
a bit more controlling,
'Cause
but
it only fixes for blood, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it feels like there's no double blood in the deck really, so we don't need that unless our gem was double blood, which I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
could be. I don't know. We didn't really determine that.
No, we'll just say they're all single threshold. How about that? Because I tried to make them somewhat fair. So we back down to 33 cards. We need to probably find some more bodies or some card draw or something like that. I mean, we could go with the card draw where you draw the cards and then you sacrifice them at the end of the turn if you don't play them. Could go with that.
Impulse.
We could go with Impulse in here. That's another card I think is not seeing a lot of play where it could see a lot of play is Impulse, because you end up playing it maybe in a deck where you play things and you reduce the cost of them, or you just have a lot of resources, something like that, and maybe then it becomes
That or your deck
really
is really,
good.
really, really low curve.
That's true. Like this is fairly low curve, and so I feel like it would be okay in this deck. Maybe two Impulse. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's another card I think that could easily make it into the Yodel deck as a one of, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely there's those points in the game where Yodel has just run out of cards because your opponent has gained
Yeah.
too much life and you just can't
Yeah,
get there,
you
and you
can't
just
get
need
there.
more gas.
Yeah. I think as a one of, it could definitely make it some Yodel builds. I don't know. I should try to play Yodel and see if I get blown out or if it does. I mean, it probably does pretty good. It probably does at least 60%, right?
It's a
Ish.
reasonable deck. It really depends on how prepared your opponent is for it.
Yeah.
Like, usually I don't have trouble beating Yodel, but if you stumble at all, Yodel takes advantage.
Oh
Like, if
yeah.
you get stuck on shards or you don't draw your, like, necessary cards in the matchup, then you can just get blown out really quickly.
It's possible we want 24 shards in here too instead
Yeah,
of 23. So maybe just one more card, one more solid card we could throw in here. What could we do?
Zakire's Frenzy is a one of.
Secures Frenzy. Or we could do a Heroic Outlaw. It's another gemmed card. Frenzy. Yeah, this could be good. I played with this a little bit. Played around with it in a constant deck, which ran the priest guy in five shard constant. It was basically a lot of fun to play in PvE, and I don't think it would ever be viable in PvP. But yeah, I like Zakir's Frenzy. It's one where I think I really want to just ramp up and play it on 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely has the potential to just win the game by randomly giving you power of secure cards.
Yeah, and things in Blood and things in Ruby, a lot of them do damage or destroy troops.
Yeah.
Because it does match it at least with your threshold. So you never get dead cards off of Zakir's Frenzy. Or completely dead cards, as in you can't play them because
Yeah.
you're in those
I mean,
shards.
you can
You
still
definitely get dead
pretty
cards, but not dead cards because of your threshold.
exactly.
There we
Yeah.
go. Yes, that's correct.
Like it can definitely give you things that are completely useless to your situation at that point in the game, but you can still cast them.
Yeah. I'm going to keep looking because we got plenty of time left here to see if there's anything else that really stands out to me as far as something we could play. I mean, obviously you could play some maybe I don't even think you play discard actually in this. This isn't really control. What is this? Boggerberg the Great Gobbler. I haven't even seen this.
Yeah,
6 for a 2/2 seems really bad.
It's not a 2/2.
When this enters play, each champion discards their hand and draws 7. This gets +2/+2 for each action drawn this way. Well, that's seems to be what we're doing here. That could be interesting, but it's in Sapphire. It's Ruby Sapphire. That's what I need to do. I need to build a deck around what's it called?
Bogberg.
The burn card. What's the burn card called?
Ragefire?
No, the one that's Sapphire and Ruby.
Oh, Psionic
Flame.
Impulse.
Psionic Flame. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to try Psionic Flame. I need to write these things down.
I've definitely built decks that have that in it. They're usually Heart of Fire decks, which means they're inconsistent when you don't draw Heart of Fire. But they're kind of fun.
You know what I want to do next year at Gen Con is see if I can set up an event where we do a live deck build with the Squire, and then I have a projector, and then the audience just yells at me and tells me I'm a noob the whole time. That would be live deck build with the Squire right there. We wouldn't be able to broadcast it live, maybe not, probably not.
Depends how good your internet connection
Depends
is.
on the hotel.
Yeah.
That'd be fun to do. Maybe I should look into that next year. Live deck build with the Squire. They do the podcast from there. Yeah.
Thanks, Irish.
You don't know what you're doing. Get out of here. What are you, Aaron Squizar? Oh, you know what? Electrify. We haven't put that in here. There we go. That's another one. That's another sweep. Why not? One more.
I don't
sweep.
even like that one.
It also could end the game. It actually could tie the game, couldn't it? If you did no damage.
It cannot tie the game.
So what happens if it does damage to both of you and it takes you to lethal?
So whoever has the higher life total wins, and if the life total is the same, then whoever's turn it is wins.
Oh.
Or something. There was a post about it. About there are no ties in this game.
Okay.
Somebody always wins or loses. There are no ties.
Well, that's because of the computer. They probably have that in there.
Yep. That's one of their rules. There is no draw.
Trying to remember what this is. This is another card that hasn't seen play yet either, just because maybe people are too afraid of the randomness of it.
It's a double ruby that I don't want to play it for, and I've tried it, but the fact of the matter is I don't like the double ruby. If it was single ruby, I'd consider playing it, but
I'm not getting to see the other cards. We've got Brilliance and Familiar.
There's a 4/2 speed, and then there's gain 6 resources and double ruby threshold.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like you just basically play it in ramp. That's what you do with it.
Not really. It's more like a control-ish card that can either be deal 5 damage to a troop or you get a 4/2 speed. So it's like those are the two modes that you really want it for. but
Yeah.
most of the control decks aren't going to be using only Ruby. They're going to want another color for another shard for either card draw or counter spells or discard or something. So
So we
that's why
could
the double Ruby doesn't make it very good.
run Monsoon because it can resurrect our guys that die to our own heat waves. Could do that. Just a one of Monsoon. And
Yeah,
it's really fast too. And it survives heat wave. All things that are good.
yeah. Unless it's a Yodel heat wave, but yeah,
Well, yeah, I mean, but you're making that call. So
yeah.
hopefully you're making good decisions. It's also a single blood threshold. I mean, I feel like that's probably a better card than what we chose earlier,
Secures
which
Frenzy.
was Zakir's Frenzy. I think Monsoon probably does more work for us,
I
although we
mean,
don't have a lot of troops.
it depends when you draw it in the game, right?
Well, yeah,
Like if you
obviously.
draw Monsoon on turn 5 or you draw Secures Frenzy on turn 5, you're probably getting more value out of Secures Frenzy.
Right.
If you have it on turn 2 in your hand, obviously Monsoon is better.
Maybe
But
just play 3 Monsoon and cut some other stuff out like Gallowgasts.
yeah,
Probably that. Sounds a lot
BT.
better. Maybe go down to 3 burns instead of 4? Maybe?
Maybe. I mean, we have a lot of heat waves.
Or
So.
just maybe just go down to 1 impulse. We'll just go down to 1 impulse. There we go. Because that could be clunky for us too. Yeah, this feels interesting and new and a little bit different at least. It's a different take on Yodel, and we came up with a gem that doesn't exist, and we built around that, and that's always fun. Except that we'll never get to play it, but I don't know.
You
Maybe they'll
never
take my
know.
suggestions, and maybe
Maybe
there's a dev that actually if you're a dev and you actually watch Deckman with the Squire, I would love to hear from you. I don't actually feel like any of the devs
maybe we'll
watch the
get
shows.
a maybe we'll get a kitchen table mode someday where we can make our own gems and you can make
Um,
gems a reality.
so the whole thing is SXDCG is we basically were trying to build some sort of gemmed deck, and so I came up with a bunch of different ideas for gems, and so the gems we're using are complete fabrications, but one of them is in Ruby, and it says deal 1 damage to all troops, including the troop that this is on, when it comes into play. So the Obsidian Cyclops will deal 1 damage to all the troops and itself when it comes into play, and is double gemmed. So the other gem would be Blood, and it says target player sacrifices a troop equal to the cost of this troop. So if we play the Cyclops for 2, they sacrifice a 2-drop, etc., etc., etc. So that actually is kind of cool in the current meta if something like that existed, because it would be a direct answer to Hierophant. Because you could play this and completely target. Well, I guess it doesn't directly answer Hierophant, because if Hierophant gets to swing, then they have
A
a
rhino.
rhino. So you'd have to kill the
But
rhino and then
technically
play
this
this
would be
guy.
after gem rotation and the rhino
Anyways,
gem
yeah,
might
so
not
we'd be able to
exist.
target
So
Hierophant anyways, right? Yeah. So let's go ahead and get our shards in here, and then we'll close out the episode and do the giveaways, because I know that's why everyone's here.
everybody loves those
Everyone loves
giveaways.
giveaways. I hope that people appreciate those spectral acorns. I'm not sure that is really a thing that people are too stoked about yet, but maybe later, like
Maybe
as
when we
Hex
have
gets older and
raids.
older, I think that those will become more of an item where people are like, ooh, spectral acorns. I think for a while, people are probably just going to play them and be like, all right, a 54 card or 56 card deck. All right, sweet. Seems good. So obviously we do Shard of Hatred, and we need some Ruby Shards and some Blood Shards. I don't know that we really even play. We could probably play 1 or 2 of these because we got a decent amount of orcs. Do we have enough orcs to play the Rage Shard?
Did you put arena regulars? I know you put
I
the
put,
3-2,
yeah,
but
I'm going to put 1 in there for now, and we'll see. Where's the Blood Shard? There it is.
my VIP sealed pool. Let's see what we got. Ooh, $20 rare. Thank you.
Oh, you started your tournament, huh?
Yep. Got me a Star Color Ancient. All the money cards. And I even have a Lanupus site to go with it. I think we're playing some Sapphire. Maybe Ruby. We got a Gobbler.
Sounds exciting. You
Could
sound
be
really
good.
excited. Kind of
It
jealous
looks
right
looks
now.
pretty good.
Yeah, we could probably play one of these. So there you go. There's the deck for this week. This is again completely theory crafted week. So I know one person, I forget his name, requested that we do a gem deck. I don't think this is exactly what he wanted. He wanted to have a ton of gemmed cards, and then you could swap things around. But we did do some gem stuff. I'll try to remember, and I'll try to do something more close to what he asked for. In 2 weeks. Next week, of course, there'll be no deck build with Squire because I'll be at GenCon. So make sure to come out and see me. Armies of Mordor will be there as well. There'll be plenty of other people from the Five Shards crew that are going to be there, and I believe basically a lot of the the streamers and the Hex community are going to be out there. So come and say hi to all the people that'll be out there. They'll probably be mostly at the Hex LAN if you're looking for them. And tonight in Deck Build with Squire, we talked about the set rotation and how that's going to be going. We've got the gem rotation coming up. We've got new sets coming out. We've got Gen Con, of course, next week. We talked about that. And then we built this deck, which is mostly theory crafted, but I think somewhat interesting. And we theory crafted our own gems. And so until next time, we're going to try to come up with your own gems. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. Some of the things you come up with in the comments. And if I really like them, I'll give you some spectral acorns or something, or maybe some free packs or something. And if you come up and you find me at the convention this next week, or if you see me tweeting about stuff, if I might put out a tweet that is going to be giving away stuff as well if you're not able to come there. And then I will also, if you come and see me and we trade information, then I will put you on a list and I'll get you some spectral acorns or some drafts or something like that. So that's pretty much it for me tonight. So that's it. So until next time, it's Aaron Squire signing off, saying God bless your families, trying to raise too much out there in Armies of Mordor.
Signing off.